We're in September 2024, and no matter how we look at it, the Switch 2, or whatever Nintendo decides to call that console, is probably gonna be released within the next 12 to 15 months. Although 15 seems to be an exaggeration, as in 15 months it will be December 2025, and I really doubt that they'll miss that November window for the system. And with reports of the system coming out, or the system being revealed relatively soon, it seems like it's time to finally talk about the Nintendo Switch 2, or again, whatever they decide to call it, and what Nintendo might do. Obviously, these are all predictions. I wish I could say these are all not predictions, but spoilers, but they're all predictions, as I'm not that smart of a man, I'm not getting a lot of things correctly, but it's still fun to speculate. So anyway, let's get to it. Let's begin right off with those reports about the Switch 2, shall we? Okay, so those Switch 2 reports are pretty simple, basically. So they began earlier this month, and by earlier I literally mean on the 4th, I believe. It began with Chris Drink saying that he has heard industry whispers around something related to the Nintendo Switch 2 coming this September. Now, obviously, that would mean not much. It's from Chris Drink, the guy. Within Nintendo, I don't believe he has many sources, as you know. He's the guy that did say that Nintendo didn't have any big games post Tears of the Kingdom. Reminder to everyone that not only did Tears of the Kingdom launch last May of last year, I should say 2023, not only did Nintendo since then launched the best-selling Pikmin game of all time, but also we got a 2D Mario and we had a Pokemon Legends game being announced for the Nintendo Switch. Now, I don't care if you think those are big games or not, or exponentially huge, make big games like Tears of the Kingdom are, they are all pretty good sellers. So, yeah. But this is about industry, it's about everybody else. So you might have heard something from a third party, which makes sense, given that third parties probably will be part of the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal, as Skyrim was, for example, a part of the original Switch reveal all the way back in 2016. Then, to go up ahead, David Gibson, an analyst, also revealed that he had heard, or that he expected, the Switch 2 to be announced this month and released in March, which makes sense. For example, I myself believe that would be the case, given the fact that I believe Nintendo will try to emulate as much of the Switch launch with the Switch 2, whatever the name of the system is. Then, Nate the Hate said also as well that the Switch 2 probably, or most definitely, will have backwards compatibility. Again, something that yours truly never had in doubt, as I never thought it would make any modicum of sense to not have the console with backwards compatibility, given the fact that not only did they release a crap ton of Nintendo Switch games, but also a lot of them in the last few years. I don't think they would have happened without some modicum of, at the very least, direct line into the next system. And then Bill B. Kuhn said that, well, actually the reveal for this month is a Switch OLED bundle. Now, I'll be honest, Bill Kuhn is the only one I don't really know. My understanding is a leaker, but maybe I've heard of him and I don't know what he has leaked. But yeah, then he came out and said that. Then Chris Drink doubled down on the reveal happening this month. And then, just as of today, the day of this recording, September 10th, Billy B. Kuhn came up and said there will be even more Switch bundles being announced, giving us a few days of announcements, and then a release date of the 19th of September. I personally don't know. I don't know when this video is going to come out, so maybe this information has already been proven right or wrong from Billy Boy. So we have to wait and see. But I honestly, even before this newest information from Billy B. Kuhn, I already believed that all these reports could be correct, as you know, a Switch 2 reveal and Switch bundles wouldn't be that big of a deal to be announced or being here. I'm actually surprised it would be from the release date of September 19th, to be honest with you. if that is the case, although some people are speculating that the reveal of the Switch 2, should it happen, it will be on the 18th. But this within September 19th release is what's getting to me, because originally, when I was going to make this, and honestly, I'll tell you right now, the intro was made yesterday, I believe, and then I recorded what was going to be this part, and unfortunately, I did not. I effed up. And I talked for like a good 20 minutes in this section and nothing was recorded, so great in it. But anyway, the September 19th is what's to me is a bit weird. Because originally I thought, like I was saying, I believe that it would be revealed. This will be the Switch OLED models, with one of them was with Mario Wonder, which was the original report. We're all going to be post reveal of the Switch 2, with maybe some price cuts coming alongside them. This now says no, and it will be revealed and released on the 19th, which is weird, but at the same time, this video could be immensely outdated, and this part could be immensely outdated if tomorrow, September 11th, which I doubt they'll do it, but if tomorrow they confirm and reveal the Switch 2, and then they reveal as well these bundles coming the 19th with price cuts. I do doubt it, but it could be. It's also particularly interesting. Nintendo now has a very good opportunity to put themselves out there with a big splash, given the fact that today the PlayStation Pro was just announced at a price point of $700. Pretty sure the Switch 2 will be between $350 to $400, so you know, with a power level, let's put it that way, close to between the PS4 and the PS Pro, which makes the PS4 Pro, I should say PS4 Pro, which makes sense. And honestly, I think that's pretty much where we don't really need to go too much higher in graphics than that. Power, I understand, but graphical fidelity, I think that for a lot of Nintendo games will be the sweet spot, as it were, for how they look. And that's obviously my own opinion. I think that will be it. I think that that's the case. I think that, yeah, I don't even know what I'm saying now. So yeah, these reports are all, again, I do believe, we'll see by the time this video comes up, which I don't know exactly when it will be. It will depend on how everything comes up. Be interesting to see at the very least, given the fact that we're close. Well, according to Billy Boy, we should be getting the reveals soon, incredibly soon. By the time this video goes up, maybe already have the OLEDs announced, and we'll see. We'll see on that one. Actually, before we move on to ports, let's do something else. Let's talk very briefly about pricing, because ever since, by the way, this has been recorded later on. I had internet problems on the 10th, wasn't able to stream on that day because of it. But one thing I find it particularly funny is that since the reveal of the PlayStation 5 Pro, the Nintendo Switch has been trending on Twitter. Why? Most people are just making fun of the price of the PlayStation 5 Pro and just saying, if Nintendo just prices the system at what I already thought it was going to be the price, but now, and most people already thought that would be the price, but now it seems like just like a price that's just like, damn, that's an easy dunk for Nintendo. Is the 400 insert your currency here, or 400,000, I think. No, yeah, I don't know, because in Japan I think the PS5 Pro is like what is it? Let me see. I thought I just seen it. Yeah, 19,000. Oh wait, what the fuck? I just saw the actual pricing. In Europe, it's 800. Excuse me, what? I thought it was 700 all across the board. Current, apparently not. PlayStation in Japan, no, in America and in the UK, it's 700 in their currency. In Europe, the rest of us, for the euros, it's 800. Okay, so yeah, Nintendo can do the funniest thing by just having the Switch 2 come out at, you know, $400 dues, euros, whatever currency you utilize. And it's an easy dunk. I just wanted to, you know, insert this here because it's just funny that it's been hours since the presentation and Switch 2 is still trending because of it. How did Sony do this? We're back to arrogant Sony. Who would have thought? They just killed off the studio. Oh, well, a game, not a studio, Concord, after 14 days of a tragic launch. They spent $200 million on that. And by the way, they saw the game pretty close to the end of its life cycle, of its development cycle. How did they think that was going to be a good game? Like, seriously, they looked at the character design and went, yeah, that's $200 million right there. You know what, buddy boy? Another Pro at 800 in Europe, by the way. Jesus Christ. Still, mud. Anyway, back to the past. Let's talk about ports. Actually, let's remove that part because it sounds bad. Leave it. Pass me, take over again. Thank you. Okay, so once again, before we move on to the topic of ports, something I forgot to mention is going to be like, when will the console be announced and when will it release? So, if the reports are true and it is the reveal is imminent, and I hope the imminent is unlike, say, a lot of other things I've been seeing recently in other fields. For example, the pro wrestling. In pro wrestling, we've been hearing that the AEW television deal will be coming, the news about it, the deal will be signed and the news will be coming imminently. We've been hearing about that for about a year now. The contract's coming, and the imminent part was said by some people at the beginning of the month, before their biggest show of the year, which was August 25th. Then we heard it again at the beginning of this month, and it's now midway through September, and not only has nothing been confirmed, there's only rumor and innuendo about it coming from the wrestling media, who is very close to the owner of AEW. So you take it or leave it when it comes to the reports and the rumors. But if the reports and rumors are correct on the Nintendo side, on the gaming side I should say, then we should be getting the reveal coming soon. I would expect reveal to come in September 18th. It feels right, September 18th. I could be wrong, and I probably should have. Actually, let me check that now. So let's just cut here to when I can confidently say what the numbers actually were. Okay, so the Switch was revealed October 20th, 2016. So September 18th feels right if it is September. September 18th does feel right. It's a month basically aligned, it will be a month earlier than the original Switch, but I do think that the release date will still be on the first week of March of 2025, just like Switch was in 2017. So let's just let's just check what date that would be. That would be March. Okay, let me just okay, so let me just check the calendar. Okay, so if the Switch 2 launches around the same time, doing the same thing as the Switch 1 did, the Switch 1 launched March 3rd, 2017. The 3rd of March was a Friday. So if they do the same thing here, it will be the 7th of March. So the 7th. It's a good date. I could see it happening. Funnily enough, on that week, they could launch on the 3rd, because the 3rd is a Monday. I doubt they would launch the console on a Monday, but a Friday, pretty good idea. Keeping in mind with what they did. So with that in mind, the pricing, I think I talked it before about, yeah, I did. Sorry, let's move on. Listen, these segments are recorded in part. Sorry if I'm too close to the mic. I'm just trying to put my calendar back to where it was. Anyway, if it's if it just plays it smart, 400 in March could be a shout. You know, could be. So yeah, let's get back to the previous recorded section. Now let's get on to ports. How will ports be done onto the Nintendo Switch 2? So, when I mean ports, I'm going to talk mostly about the Nintendo ports, not third-party ports, because those, again, there's too big of a array of games that could be coming to the Switch 2. Although I will say the Final Fantasies most definitely are coming, because we already heard even the, oh, by the way, we're making tremendous strides in the porting or putting the Final Fantasy XIV on Nintendo systems, so it's pretty clear Final Fantasy is coming to Switch. It's almost a guarantee at this point. If it isn't, Square Enix is a bunch of dummies. Which, I mean, it's a third-party company that likes to please the West a lot, so maybe they are a bunch of dumbasses. But anyway, let's talk about how Nintendo will handle ports. And how Nintendo will handle ports. Mostly of their first-party IPs. So, when it comes to anything pre-Switch, they're going to do what they've been doing. They're going to remaster the game or port the game with added controls, better graphics, what have you, and just put it on the system that they have been doing for the past almost 8 years. So that's the most natural course of doing things, since the system isn't going to be backwards compatible with anything behind the Switch. However, what will they do for Switch ports? Given the fact that the console supposedly will be, and I do believe it will be, backwards compatible, there isn't a need for ports, right? We don't need them. The console is backwards compatible, you don't need to port the games. However, I do think Nintendo will be porting, and I put that in quotations, the games to the Switch 2. However, it will be different than what you might expect. What I do think they're going to be doing is, well, they're going to upgrade the games. They're going to put updates out where they upgrade the game for the new system. Maybe doing a few tweaks here and there and adding quality of life stuff for certain games, and just improving the game to be more, to play better on this brand new system. A great example for this would be Xenoblade Chronicles 2, where if you fast travel to the town of Torrigoth in Gormott, which is the first major area of the game, if you fast travel to the middle of town, there will be a load screen. Not load screens, but stuff will take a while to load. You know, the textures won't load properly. It doesn't look great for fast traveling to it. Another thing for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the directions. While walking through an area, you have to do a quest. Well, here's the map. Here's the thingy, way for the compass at the top, telling you where to go, how distant you are, but there's no indication how to actually get there, and you could get lost relatively easy into the game, because it will be like, oh, it's up, you have to get up, it's one floor up, but how do I get up? You don't know how to get to the top, on the top floor, like above where you are. Oh, you're in the correct spot, but it's above you. When you look up and you see nothing, how do you get there? That type of thing. And I do think what they will do is update the games to have those things, and then re-release them onto the Nintendo Switch 2, I should say, mostly on the packaging for physical version, while the digital version, it's Switch 2, it's upgraded. You get the upgrade on the digital version of the game on the eShop. If you want to buy Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the eShop on the Switch 2, it's just the Switch 2 version. If you buy it on Switch, it's the Switch version. However, this is where we get to what they're going to be doing for the people that already have the game through digital means or what have you. But there's 3 ways they can do the distribution for people that have it. It's the good, the neutral, and the evil. The good is the one that I hope for, I pray for, I definitely wish for, but sure shit won't happen. Which is, you have the game, you have the upgrade. You don't need to do anything else. All you need to do is download it. It's your account. Your account has that you own the game. It gets the upgraded version. Now, the neutral version is what I'm expecting, and one that I say neutral because although you have to pay, I kind of see it. I can understand paying. I would say 5 to 10 insert your currency here would work, but more than that will be a bit much, I'll be honest. But I also think they wouldn't do too much more than that. Maybe 10 to 20 would be a little bit more on the outrageous side, but 5 to 10, and you're paying for the upgrades, I guess. You're paying for the improved graphics, improved loading, improved systems. Okay, that's not terrible. And you're paying for the development of the things. It really is not that bad. And then you get to the bad one, which is just buy the shit again, dummy. It's the one I hope they don't do, but I could definitely see be the thing that they do. So yeah, that's it. And I don't know how they would do it. We'll see how it goes. I also think that that for the ports, they're not gonna do on any game that is multiplayer. I think all the single player games they will do it. Multiplayer games, I think they'll maybe upgrade the graphics, and those I almost 100% be like they're for free. They upgrade the graphics, upgrade the loading times, but they don't add anything because most of them will be replaced by when the next version of that series comes up. And also, going back to the neutral version, because I completely forgot to say it, and it just popped into my brain again, is that I think that might be the most reasonable one the one they're going to go for the most, because I do see them doing a method of if you own, once again, let's go with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 gets re-released on the Switch 2, gets the cover, goes on to store shelves again. He's on the eShop now. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for Nintendo Switch, and you own the game already. You have your account. You get the new system, and the upgrade is 5. Insert your currency here, or 10. Insert your currency here, unless you own, or not you own, you are a part, or you own, or you have a membership for the NSO. And in the NSO, if you have the NSO, it's free. And if you don't have the NSO, you pay. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're doing, because they technically speaking already are doing that with some DLCs. Animal Crossing, Mario Kart, Splatoon 2, I don't think 3 had, but Splatoon 2 had the DLC coming in. So I wouldn't be surprised if that is what they decide to do regarding the ports. Actually, now that I said it, I think that might be just the most logical one they're going to go with, and it drives sales for the NSO for people that already have the system or had the Switch and are porting or going to Switch 2, and if you don't, you're doing it that way. Yeah, sorry, my brain is sometimes rattled. I'm pretty dumb. Yeah. Now, speaking of the NSO will be something very interesting to see how Nintendo handles in this new console generation. Now, I'll be completely honest, I don't expect it to be that different from what it is now, but I expect a few tweaks here and there. And I think, for example, the first maybe year and a half, depending on when they want to do this and want to completely separate from the Switch, I expect that's when we're going to start seeing the changes. However, I wouldn't be surprised if with the announcement of Switch 2, maybe at the announcement of the press conference when they announce everything, or the announcement of, or closer to launch, and maybe the direct close to it, or a direct right afterwards, or even a direct that will be happening, or not a direct, but a Pokemon Presents, okay, I gave the game away, Pokemon Presents in February of 2025. They announced that the Pokemon games are going to be coming to the Switch's NSO. I think will be the interesting part. However, I did say I do think they will be maybe changing things a bit when they start to move away from Switch. So that will depend a lot on when they effectively do that. Personally, I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see maybe year 1, year 2 Switch or Switch 2 sporadic games here and there launching across both platforms, and I'll talk about them more when we get to the games I expect the launch lineup, the first 18 months of it. Some games I do see being cross-platform happening, and I do think that maybe they'll be like, hey, by the way, once they start going away from it, they restructure the NSO, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do, by the way, from here on out, let's say September 2027. Let's go 2027. 2.5 years after the launch of the system, they go, by the way, we're changing the NSO. Game Boy, all the things right now, the consoles specifically, but the Nintendo consoles, not the consoles that are not from Nintendo, but the Nintendo consoles on the NSO, on the premium side of the NSO, which I believe is just the N64 and GBA. They're not going to be a part of the lower tier of the NSO. So the $20, 20 insert the currency here, bit part thingy tier. And starting now, we're going to be having the GameCube and the Nintendo DS as a part of the premium side of the NSO. They're going to launch in different months so that you can play the games as however you want. And we go from there. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that and say Pokemon Colosseum and Gale of Darkness are part of the GameCube one. I wouldn't be surprised if like Mario 64 DS was a part of it, and finally people could play with good controls. I'm just saying, I've always heard people complain about it, never played it. Maybe even New Super Mario Brothers DS. Hello. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see which games they would choose. But I do think like 2026, 2027 would be when they introduce that, especially if they revise it and go like, by the way, it's free, especially if the Switch doesn't get as much support, you know? I'm just saying. Or if they're like, but this is only for the Nintendo Switch 2, the premium side gets it. I don't know how you would do for the Switch, people that still had the Switch, the premium side of it, but I don't know. I'm just saying what I think. Maybe they will give up the people that are on Switch. If the numbers are low enough, they give up on having people on Switch with the premium side of the NSO. Just saying. Also, in this thing, I also expect another game. Let's be honest. I'll talk about it more. I don't talk about it more. I say talk about it more like there's much more to say. What I'm about to say here. What I'm expecting for the NSO. One of the things that wouldn't surprise me, especially in the press conference when they revealed the grander things of the Switch 2. I say press conference going by what they did in 2017. So I expect again that they're going to keep a lot in line with the Switch 2 to keep it rolling. But one of the things I would expect that more on that press conference would be them, talking about the NSO and all that, getting people invested into the planning of the next system would be obviously a game that we all expect coming to Switch 2, although at this point I wouldn't be surprised if they just ported over what they did on Switch, which would be Mario Kart 9, right? What if they showcase Mario Kart 9 in the reveal trailer, which we know if they do it like the Switch did, they're going to have the reveal trailer with a bunch of games that are going to come out, and then at the press conference they announce it. So what if they do, hey, by the way, Mario Kart 9, and then they go, by the way, just so we are clear, like maybe even in the segment where they're talking about the NSO and how they're going to keep things as they are. But they go, and by the way, just so everybody knows, here's Mario Kart 9 coming to the system. And we're not just going to be doing Mario Kart 9. No, boys and girls and children of all ages. We're not just doing Mario Kart 9. Mario Kart 9 is coming, and it's going to be May. I think it's May because of, again, doing what they did in 2017. It's May. It's gonna be May. And they go one step further and they go, and by the way, just one more thing. If you have the NSO, the premium edition, just like they do with Switch, you will be getting the DLC for it. And you might say, well, the announcing DLC, there's people that don't like when they announce DLC before the game launch. Personally, I have nothing against it. I think it only matters is how good the game is. If the game comes complete, who cares? I do think that Mario Kart 9 might take a we're gonna do what base Mario Kart 8 Deluxe did, not with all the DLC that included with the booster pack, but also that's what I expect the booster pack for this DLC to be, a booster pack. So, but instead of being the 2 years like we got for, I believe it was 2 years for the booster pack, and having basically 50% of the game be DLC, 50% of the content of the game be DLC. I'm saying that wrong. What I want to say is that the booster pack to increase the content of the game or the tracks of the game by 50%. There we go. Finally got it out. I expect them to do something similar to that with Mario Kart 9, except bigger. Instead of being, by the way, here's 2 years of content, they do 4 years of content and you double the amount of tracks. You also include more characters, and you also include maybe a few battle tracks. I don't know, I never played a lot of battle tracks in Mario Kart. Just saying the possibilities. And I would not be surprised if they went with, by the way, here's the system, here's what we're going to do with the NSO, and this is the first thing, which I think will be a smart play. They already do that with the NSO, so including that will be a very, very smart, I believe, very smart play. So yeah, again, to do the TLDR on it, on the NSO, which we'll do again at the end, which will be more of a TLDR on the full video. NSO with at launch basically the same, maybe including in February the Pokemon games, of generations 1, 2, and 3. Pricing changing up in September 2027. Let's go 2027 with Switch, with the Game Boy, with the Nintendo consoles going to the lower tier, with GameCube and DS being added to it, and then DLCs to keep going for the NSO on the bigger games, because it makes more sense for Nintendo to be like, hey, there was nothing in doing the DLCs for free on the NSO page, because they're still getting money. Either they get your money with a one-time purchase, or they get you to subscribe to the NSO. So it's a win-win for them in that scenario. So I think that. So now let's move on. Not the specs, but I think something maybe I should have talked early in the game, which would be gimmick of the console. So I think the gimmick, right? I think it's either going to be, it's either Switch but stronger, or they're going to do a way for the Switch to be a dual screen console again. So it's either going to be you have the Switch like the Switch that it is now, and you flip the Switch, you flip the screen up, and you have a lower a bottom behind the main screen. There's a lower screen where you can flip the main screen from. Either that, or you put it you can like somehow, some way vertically change the way the screen is, and you, instead of being horizontal, it goes to vertical, and you have the Joy-Cons that still attached to the sides. I don't know more about that one. I think that one's a bit weird. I saw the concept of it a few days ago, but I don't know about that one, Chief. And finally, the third option would be just sliding in a second Switch, which I think will be much more awkward on it, because you'll still need a second Switch for it. I do think they'll keep, because I think they did it in one of the was it a Mario Party? Was the 51? I think it was the 51 World Classics, whatever the game was called, where they did the whole, by the way, here's you can join multiple Switches and you play them all together. Although I think that was also in one of the Mario Parties. I could be wrong. I am a dumbass. But yeah, I think that will be it in terms of specs and all that. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. Don't ask me anything about that. I'll just say between PS4 and PS Pro, the closer to PS Pro, the better. Because I think that's, honestly, I think that's peak graphics, and we're not seeing that much return on investment with big increases in graphics like companies want you to believe in, the tech companies especially, and given how much it already costs and how long it takes to make games, I think we plateau at that, and we just improve from there on out until we can actually have a big increase. These incremental ones. I mean, come on. PlayStation 5 Pro and PlayStation 5 regular, like they were showing, what was it? I don't think it was performance. I think, yeah, it was performance mode. Oh, guys, by the way, you can play the game now at 60 FPS or looking the best possible. And hey, you want to see the footage? Look at the evidence here and these leaves where now they're super clear. Well, before they were a little bit blurry, because that's what determines the good game. Which, by the way, I don't understand how Sony can look at the data they have where it says people prefer performance over graphics and go, you know what? We're going to make a console that's both together, and it's going to be $700 for Americans. Don't look at the exchange rates for the Europeans and the Brits. I haven't even seen the Japanese one, to be honest with you, because after seeing the Europeans one, I'm like, I'm sorry, mate, but I am scared of seeing what they do to the Japanese. But yeah. Hi, future me here once again on the day that this video hopefully comes out, and the day that the few final parts are being recorded, because I am a slow bastard and took me a while to do things. I just wanted to come back in here and say, well, Nintendo has just confirmed that the not two Switch bundles, but two Switch bundles, but mostly two Mario Kart 8 bundles, one the OLED and one with the standard edition, and both of them with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and a 12-month membership to the Nintendo Switch Online. I haven't seen the price anywhere, but yeah, they just confirmed that. So yeah, hopefully this video comes out today, the 16th. If it doesn't, goddammit, I fucked it up. And if I don't put it out today, then it's gonna have to come out on the 18th, which is also another thing I'm gonna put out here now, because this will be part of this if I put this correctly, this will be part of the segment where I talk about when I expect the announcement and launch. If it's not coming out on the 18th, and this video then comes out by itself on the 18th, then I fully expected the system to then launch on the 21st. So, hooray! Let us go to the next part, shall we? Okay, now let's talk about the 18-month period that I wanted to do from launch. Well, starting at launch and then going 18 months into the future. Why do I put 18 months here? Because if you look back at the Switch's one life cycle, the first 18 months were crucial. Well, most of the second half of the 18 months, not the second half, but like starting in March 2018 until December 2018, there wasn't really many games. Actually, let me just go to Google, and just make sure what I'm saying is correct, because there were okay. So after March 2018, there were roughly 6 games from Nintendo on the Nintendo Switch. Those being Labo, Tropical Freeze, Mario Tennis Aces. Oh, actually, sorry, 5, because then it's Pokemon Let's Go, and Super Smash Brothers. I was counting WarioWare Gold, which shouldn't have been included. So technically, it's good to remember this and looking back, like, oh yeah. I mean, in terms of this is also the noticeable launches that the Nintendo Fandom Wiki is giving me. There might have been more games that I'm not seeing, but I'm also not remembering any of them. So maybe this is the correct thing. But anyway, there was a big. I mean, to be fair, there's still a big gap in this, because like Tropical Freeze was a Wii U port. Mario Aces came out in June. You know, like the big games came out later in the year, with November having the Pokemon Let's Go games, and then Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And that's what I wanted to do, go until the 18 months so that we can have the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, moment of it. But now, so let's talk first about launch. What are the launch games that I'm expecting? Well, I'm not expecting Nintendo to reveal any major, big, brand new games coming out to the Switch 2, at the very least at launch. What I am expecting would be that Metroid Prime Beyond is the big game for it, the Breath of the Wild, as it were, for the Switch 2. Now you might say, well, it isn't as big of a game, because even Breath of the Wild, the Zelda series, before Breath of the Wild, the lowest 2 Zelda selling games were both Majora's Mask and Skyward Sword, and both of them had surpassed the 3 million mark, which Metroid Dread is the only Metroid game to have ever accomplished that, as far as we can speculate, because last numbers we have was at 2.9 mil. We haven't heard an update from it. I don't believe. I could be wrong on that. If there'll be a note on screen, Jesus, right now. But anyway, I expect Beyond to be the major game, because I expect that the rest of the lineup will be what I talked before, the Switch ports, the quote-unquote ports. I expect to see Tears of the Kingdom, maybe even Breath of the Wild, because that was the thing that apparently they showcased at Gamescom. Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, maybe Mario Wonder. Mario Wonder. Maybe Odyssey. That's what I wanted to say. Maybe Odyssey, Wonder probably. Maybe Odyssey, but Odyssey will depend, given what the rest of the year is. Maybe updates to Scarlet and Violet, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and its DLC. I think these fit all perfectly. All of them, because all of them are single-player games. And you might say, well, what about multiplayer games? I don't think any of the multiplayer games will receive these updates, the ports. I think I said that before. It's been a few days since I recorded that, but I expect the ports, all of them, to be like rebranded and launched, and Beyond being the one that gets like the big showcase, and like the one like, oh yeah, this is the big deal. Third-party games, maybe. I think I'm just gonna say it. I'm not gonna go into like what AAA or third-party games I'm expecting to come out for the Switch 2 in this 18 months. However, I'll say a few. I wouldn't be surprised if Dragon Ball Sparking Zero comes out for the Switch 2. either when the DLC starts to come out or when the DLC ends, and it depends on when the DLC ends. But then again, Xenoverse 2 got so much DLC for it's insane, and honestly, Sparking Zero looks like a phenomenal game. I just want to talk about Sparking Zero here for a second. Sorry. And another game the other games I am expecting to see here would be the Kingdom Hearts and the Final Fantasy franchise coming into it. More specifically, all the collections for Kingdom Hearts that were released earlier this year on Steam. They already were on PC, but on the Epic Game Store, and there were cloud versions on Switch. I think they're just going to put them on Switch too as regular games. Same thing will happen with the Final Fantasy. Final Fantasies, I'm expecting 16 and 14 to come out. We've heard recently that 14, they were making great strides for it, and at launch I wouldn't be surprised if we either get a dual pack of Final Fantasy VII's Remake and Rebirth, or Remake first and then Rebirth coming down the line. I don't know. I'm just expecting these. Maybe even it's 16, the one that's at launch. These are the ones I'm going to predict because they're the only ones I feel like it's kind of easy to do so outside of like indies and stuff like that. But yeah, I just want to... Maybe Minecraft also there at launch wouldn't be too much of a shocker. But yeah. So again, from here on out, I'm not going to give too many. I'm going to give games I'm expecting in these 18 months, with very few getting the release dates that I'm expecting for it. For example, I don't know what game is going to come out in March, but I'm telling you right now, I'm almost 100% certain that in May, because I think the system is still coming out in March, in May, I'm full-blown expecting Mario Kart 9 to be revealed, or released, I should say. Mario Kart 8 was May 2017, 2025 seems like a good time to launch it. The DLC ended, when did the DLC end? 2 years ago? Or last year? Was it last year already? Where is time going? Let me see. December 20, I think it was December 2023. Yeah, I believe it was December 2023. Jesus Christ. It's already been almost a year. God damn it, where's time gone? But anyway, yeah, almost a year. I wouldn't have. They probably were already working on the game before the DLC was even finished, or as the DLC was going on, because most of these tracks, I believe, were already from or were already on Mario Kart 8 Tour. Oh, not Mario Kart 8 Tour, just Mario Kart Tour. If they count Tour as a Mario Kart game, then maybe it's Mario Kart 10. So we'll see what they do. But again, May seems like the perfect release date for it. It's the one that makes the most amount of sense, at least in my humble list of opinions. Then we reach again another game. I'm expecting this to be just summer. I'm not going to give it a release date, just summer. Will be Splatoon 4. They just ended Splatoon 3 updates. You might say, well, isn't it a bit early for it? And I would say yes. I could 100% see Splatoon 4 slipping into 2025 or 2026, I should say. I also feel, maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel like the end of content for both Splatoons 1 and 2 before the launch of 2 and 3 were also like a year and a half before the launch of the next one. So I wouldn't be again surprised if they were already working on these content, working on these DLCs coming, or these games come out, especially for the next system. Now, another brand new game I'm expecting to come out in this time period, and I suspect this might be closer to the end of the year to repeat what they did in 2017, maybe even December once again, or maybe even slipping into the next year in early 2025, and there'll be a reason I'll explain for it why later more. It will be Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 benefited a whole lot from coming early on in the Switch's life cycle. 2017 was a phenomenal year for Nintendo. It was the year that established Zelda as a major player. It confirmed Splatoon was here to stay. It brought 3D Mario into the levels of 2D Mario, and it established Xenoblade as another one of, like, not the big boys, but another mainstay Nintendo series that can do and pull, at the very least, good numbers, and some of the top numbers of its own genre. Because both Xenoblade Chronicles games, 2 and 3, and even the definitive edition of 1 have all sold tremendously well. for not just for the IP but for most of its genre. So to remember that before this, none of them had gone over 1 million. The Bandai Namco's Harada believed that Japanese JRPGs to surpass the 1 million mark needed to look like the Final Fantasy games, and then the Xenoblade Chronicles games came up and blew that out of the water. Now, obviously, Persona has done that as well, but you could have done that more of that. That's an exception to the rule. That's an exception that confirms the rule more than anything. But Xenoblade continues to do well, and I wouldn't expect them to continue on with that. Now, it could be 2024, 2025, I should say, or it could be 2026. It all depends, but mostly will depend on what the holiday title is. And this is where I'm a little bit on the I don't know. Remember when I said I expect Odyssey to come out in this time period? Odyssey could not come out in this time period. Odyssey being part of the launch of the system. This is why I was talking about, because I could definitely see a Super Mario game, a 3D Mario game, I should say, come out in the launch of the next system. It just makes sense. You're not gonna get Zelda on it, and I will be talking about Zelda a little bit. Another game I expect maybe for the summer period for Zelda. I'll talk about it later. We're not gonna get a brand new 3D Zelda, because, you know, we just got Tears of the Kingdom last year, and by the time the system comes out, it'll be 2 years. There's no way in hell they made a new one in 2 years. Not only there's no way they did one in 2 years, I'm also expecting the things with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom the updates might be enough to sustain it, and something else I'll talk in a little bit. And we also, no Zelda, Xenoblade later in the year, but this is why I'm talking about this. I could see it launching in October, and there's actually a possibility more. Now I'm talking about it, I remember one thing. Why, this actually makes sense for October. I'm expecting it now for October, and I'll explain why in a little bit, because it just makes sense. October 27th, 2017 from a second, launch of Mario Odyssey. Odyssey blew up the Mario franchise once again. Let's be completely honest. Mario was big, Odyssey came out, or Odyssey was revealed for the first time, great numbers. That E3 trailer blew the hell up. I believe it's still over 30 million views on YouTube, which is still insane. And it blew up the 3D Mario series to do 2D Mario numbers, which is phenomenal. It also benefited from being basically alone for so long in terms of platformers for Mario. It didn't get real competition, quote unquote, in that space until the 3D Mario All-Stars that lasted 9 months, if that. And then was Bowser's Fury. 3D World plus Bowser's Fury in February of 2021. I want to say, I could be wrong on that. It could have been 2020, but I'm pretty sure it was 2021. I don't think we heard about the game even until 2021, of course, February 2021, of course, because we didn't hear about the game until September for the Direct, Mario Direct. How am I thinking? Right. So, actually makes sense. Now, the reason why I was so confused, and even as I'm talking, my brain made the connection, I remember something. I was going with this, right? I'm hoping that Game Freak delayed Pokemon Pizza so that we could be playing a better version of the game, a more cooked version of the game. Actually letting the pizza cook before pulling it out and still being frozen. Because knowing Game Freak regularly, I say delay, because regularly, by this point in time, we have already seen Pokemon Pizza, and we'll already be gearing up to play Pokemon Pizza, either this year or early next year, like it was with Pokemon PLA. However, we haven't seen anything since the announcement in February. It's mid-September, and we've gotten jack shit from them. They have announced literally nada for the game. Zero. We've got the logo, we've got the announcement trailer, and we still don't know the setting. We know it's Lumio City, but we don't know if it's in the future, if it's in the past. It most likely is the past. But we don't know. We legitimately don't know if it's past, future, anything in between. Part of me wants to believe that was done so that we could have the pizza cook, and that it's coming out later next year. However, another part of me also believes, and this might be the most likely version of the conversation, is that Nintendo literally told them, hey, port the game to the Nintendo Switch 2, let it cook, actually finish the game, and have the game launch in November of 2025 for both systems, something that Pokemon has never done. But do it for the two systems, or even if you don't do it for both systems, at least have an update ready to go for the next system, because the system is going to be backwards compatible. It doesn't really matter if they have it or not, if they port it or not, it's still going to be available. And this is what my rationale was before. I was thinking, oh, it's just they won't be putting out all this 3D Mario, Pokemon, and then Xenoblade, all that close to one another. That's why I was putting Xenoblade later in, maybe into next year. And I was thinking Mario 3D Mario might not make it to 2024. But then I remember, Pizza would be dual release. It will be not exclusive to the Switch 2. It will be on both systems. Now I'm not expecting too many games to launch on both systems. Beyond will be one, and perchance even. And this, obviously, maybe another thing I'm expecting, maybe we could see the Primes 2 and 3 remasters, remakes, ports, whatever, come out throughout the year, launch on both systems. It makes the most amount of sense. But yeah, now I'm expecting Pizza to be on both. I would be surprised. I mean, it will be playable on the next one. It's just, I hope there is at least an update to it to make it look a little bit better. But it's expecting too much of a Game Freak. I just hope that Pizza comes fully equipped. And I was talking about Zelda before. Let's go talk about Zelda. So Zelda is in an interesting position here because it's gonna miss the launch of the system with the new games completely. It's 100% happening. It's not. We're not gonna get a brand new Zelda on 2025 or 2026. We're not. We just had Tears of the Kingdom in 2023, and we just had, or we're just gonna be having Zelda Echoes of Memories, Echoes of Wisdom, which is a 2D Zelda. So we have a 3D and a 2D Zelda coming out relatively close to one another in terms of, they're over a year apart, but and they're both coming out relatively close to the next system's launch, to the point where there's no way they're going to make one of those games or make a new game for it. So again, I'm expecting, maybe even both. I forgot about Wisdom, or Echoes of Wisdom, I should say, for the port. But I expect an update maybe as well to be working on the next system, maybe work better. I don't know. Link's Awakening could get an update as well to make sure it runs a little bit better. I never really had a problem with the way it runs, but people had. So here's what I think could happen in the 18 months post Switch 2 launch. Now, I have one opinion that I think is likely-ish, but then we have the other things that are also very likely. So first will be the release of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HDs. You've heard about them. Supposedly they're done. I say supposedly, we've been hearing about them since 2018 or whatever. And we have seen Jack and shit for it. So I'm expecting, if those are real, they could be launching on both systems. And launching and releasing within those 18 months. And I think that could be coming would be a Warriors game. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe to tackle on the war that happened in the ancient past. Spoilers. The Ganondorf war, where they imprisoned Ganondorf, and spoilers, the one that Zelda went back in time to. Maybe, I don't know how you would do it. I hope they don't pull Age of Calamity and resolve everything. But at the same time, you would expect Link to be playable, so he would have to show up. So maybe it's again an alternative timeline where Link and Zelda saved a different kingdom. Pull a Trunks. Trunks went back in time. He saved the world, but he didn't save his timeline. And then his timeline got even more effed by the end of Super. But that's another conversation. But it could be. Lucina does the same thing. She travels back in time to save a different reality, not her own. So this could be. It's like, oh, it's a different timeline, different universes. You're just jumping. It's multiverse theory, baby. You influence one timeline, you don't influence them all. And the other thing was something I actually thought was going to happen when I heard the rumors of the Zelda game. There was going to be, or the actual Zelda game. I personally at first thought it was either going to be a 2D Zelda, which we ended up getting, or I also thought there were going to be a playable segment in a remake. I thought they were going to pull a Bowser's Fury, and they were going to port, or I should say remake, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, which I think they're going to do still for next year. or for the 30th anniversary, but that's 2028, and I'm very doubtful that in 2028 is when they're going to do it, because they're not going to go that long without a Zelda game. I'm expecting next year to be a Zelda Ocarina of Time remake, maybe an actual proper like remake, not just an HD port of the 3DS version, an actual like definitive Xenoblade Definitive Edition or Prime Remaster. And I thought, well, maybe they could even like add side content like they did for Bowser's Fury, and I thought there was going to be the 7 missing years from Ocarina, where Link is in the hyperbolic time chamber, to give it give it a name, the realm of the gods or whatever, the realm of the sage. I forget the name of it. So yeah, I would expect the 7 missing years to be the part that would be playable, and that would have the Zelda playable thing. It turns out that there was Echoes of Wisdom, but hey, they could still do it. They could still pull it off. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I'm just saying. Waka waka. So yeah, I think that will be a good one. In terms of other games, I could see maybe Kirby also launching in these 18 months, like the original 18 months. Now, what would it be? That's a good question, and I probably would say another 3D one, or they could go back to the 2D ones. So I'm giving you both options. I'm being a reels journalist right now with the predictions. It could be 3D, it could be 2D, but if I had to wager, I would probably put my money on it being 3D, given the success of Forbidden Land or Forgotten Land. Another one I would expect is one that we've been expecting for a while. Maybe it will release, would be Tomodachi Life. The fact that we haven't seen that on Switch is almost diabolical. The same thing with Donkey Kong Country. Come on, are we ever going to see the monkey return? And I know we're gonna get next year Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. I just meant in the new game. Okay. A former artist at Nintendo has been giving a lot of praise to Miyamoto, and he says and expects Star Fox to not be dead. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the return of Star Fox as well. So yeah, that's most of the games I want to talk about, except for one, which is the final one, which is the game I think will 120% close out these 18 months. It's the same game that closed out the original 18 months, and will be Super Smash Brothers. It just makes sense, doesn't it? And I want to make something. I want to see something. So okay, so I wanted to check. Just want to make sure, and it's correct. What I thought was correct. Both this might be this right now. If we go from including the DLC for Smash Bros. Ultimate and the end of the DLC. Right now we are in a pretty normal when the consoles are successful. Well, not really successful, depending on the thing. Depending on when the game launches and how not successful the system is. It doesn't matter. We are right now in one of the safest, let's put it, not longest, but we're approaching on longest wait times between Smash Brothers. And by that I mean announcement. Because Super Smash Bros. Melee came out in 2001, the announcement for Brawl came out in 2006. But it was just under 6. Okay, so let me go grab the thingies. Melee came out in November, the 21st of November of 2001, while Brawl was announced on the 10th of May 2006. So just under 5 years. 4 years, 7 months basically. Then Super Smash Brother, Brawl, that was that dummy, yeah. Between Melee and announcement of Brawl. Brawl came out the 31st of January. No, actually the 15th of January in Japan, the 10th of November, or the 10th of February in America, and I believe the 31st was actually European dates. I might be seeing the European dates. Oops-a-daisy. I don't think so. Maybe it doesn't say Melee has a 21st of January, 21st of November in Japan for Melee, December 3rd in North America, and May 2002 in Europe. Okay, so I'm gonna go with the Japanese date because it still fits. But yeah, under 5 years for between Melee and the announcement of Brawl, and Brawl came out in January 2008, February 2008 if you want to include it. And March. What? Oh no, America was the March 9th. Okay. 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 But the announcement of Smash 4 or Smash 4 came out in June 2013. Again, under 5 years. Right now, we're not going to be getting an announcement this year for Smash Brothers. Right now, we will be turning 3 years since the announcement of Super Smash Brothers. Since the last character reveal for Smash Brothers Ultimate and the announcement of the next one. I'm not expecting the next one to be announced next year either. I'm expecting it to be on the first anniversary of the system, just like Ultimate was. So it would be a over 4-year gap and under 5 years of announcement. Although I do expect it to launch roughly within the year of within the year of the announcement, because it'll be 9 months roughly for Ultimate or to next Smash Brothers. I think that will be the closer of the 16 months, right? So once again, mostly will be the ports and the things done correctly. Then it's the Mario Kart 9. No, Beyond will be at launch. Mario Kart 9 in May. Splatoon 4 and maybe even Ocarina of Time remake within the summer time period. 3D Mario in October. Pokemon Pizza in November, although this one is also cross-platform. I'm not saying most of the cross-platform ones, I'll just say the 2 big ones in Dread and Beyond and the Prime and Pizza. Xenoblade Chronicles early, either December or early into the next year in 2026. 3D Kirby making a return, and close it all off, Super Smash Brothers next. Let's put it that way. So now we are here at the TLDR section of the video, and I'm going to try to do this condensed as possible and as cohesive as possible. So let's go to it. So first was the prediction about the announcement. The announcement should come between the 18th and the 25th, a little earlier as it is in the 1st of September 2024. Obviously, launch March 2025, probably the 7th, slightly the 7th. Pricing, $400 dues and €450 probably, most definitely, or a little bit below the 450, just like they did in the launch of the Switch 1. Power between PS4 and PS Pro. Gimmick, probably dual screen in some way, shape, or form, but could be just a more powerful Switch. Then games at launch. Bunch of quote-unquote ports, just upgraded versions of Switch 1 games that will be available on Switch 2 through backwards compatibility, plus Metroid Prime Beyond as the main title. Then Mario Kart in May. During the summer, I expect Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and Splatoon 4. On October, 3D Mario. November, Pokemon Pizza, or Pizza, just Pizza. Then Xenoblade Chronicles 4 in between the maybe late 2024 to early 2025, and then in 2025 having a bunch of other school titles, maybe 3D Kirby, the alleged Zelda ports of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, Tomodachi Life, maybe the return of an old IP, and closing off the 2026 and the 18 months of the system, it will be Super Smash Brothers. So that'll be all for today. Hope everybody enjoyed this video. Tell me in the comment section, what are your predictions? And go, by the way, on everything how I did in the TLDR section, give your predictions. What do you think the announcement will be? The launch, pricing, gimmick, followed it up by maybe even an 18-month plan. Maybe not the full 18 months. I didn't do the 18 months. I just said how it was going to begin, gave a few games, and then at the end, do something like that, or just games you expect to be around there, and also the gimmick of the system. Do you know what? Funnily enough, originally the first version I was going to do about a Switch 2 video was the Switch 2 primed for success or doomed to fail. And recently, with the events that we've been having in the last few months over the gaming industry, especially even in the last few weeks, I think that the only way Nintendo cannot have a successful system with the Switch 2 is for them to completely tank it in the marketing department, in the pricing department. Even the name I don't think will matter that much now anyway, and even in the game section. Now sure, if they have a bad launch of games in the upcoming year, that it could be bad, but I think Nintendo right now is very much in a prime position, the best position they've been maybe ever to launch a video game system. As long as they don't royally screw it up like everybody else did, they should be in for a good time. And as a fan, I'm pleased by that, because it means we're gonna have a good long string of games. Hopefully they don't create it like the rest of the industry. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you have a good time, and I'll see you guys in the next one for both predictions and stuff. But hey, if you want to catch me on my Twitch, on my streams, catch me on Twitch or on YouTube. Link will be in the description. And hopefully I will be finalizing. Terminalizing is a bad sentence. Finalizing the highlights for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I should also start on the ones for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Mostly I'm going to divide it into like the gym battles and the battles in that story, the the Path of Legends, and the Team Star Path, and the obviously Area Zero and the DLCs. But anyway, hope everybody enjoyed. I've been Legend DS. See you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye everyone.